up one of the hardest things, you know.
So did they have a solid relationship after 38 years?
They had a solid relationship, but I know for a fact that he was not happy, throughout, for a good portion of it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of arguing and stuff. It's like, and she's a strong manifester. She was the, she was the controller in the house, and he accepted a lot of stuff. I mean, he would definitely lash back out, but he would at the end, he spent most of his time, they had this building where he was running, the like an Airbnb business. They owned the brownstone up in here in Manhattan, but that was like his controlling business. He ran it, and but he spent most of his time. He would go home and he would cook. He would do everything. He would do everything for her, But that was his way of being in control, And then she became completely dependent on it, completely. She didn't even understand like how to pay a bill. Everything was done for her, like a typical manifestor, like queen, And but then he committed suicide, and then she was like the rug just got pulled from under her. It was like,
So what was the foundation? I mean, was anybody able to decipher why he would take his own life? I mean, was it chemical instability? Was it emotional? I mean, what was your interpretation?
I think it was a combination of many things, and definitely, that was, emotional stresses, and he started looking really, really thin, like he got some kind of problem in his esophagus, didn't know where he got it from, and he had an operation, and he was like losing weight. He was like he became really sick, which I think it was not just because of you know understanding human design. When someone is not happy and for many, many years, it takes on into all kinds of physical ailments in the body, and he was just like, he was not happy. He was not a happy camper for many years,
And I guess eventually that takes its toll, and
He just went right above her head.
and eventually that takes its toll, and he makes that. I mean, that's a big decision to take your life, right? You know,
Sure.
and it always makes me curious as to how somebody would actually end their mortality. I mean, I've
He
been,
attempted it a couple of times.
oh really?
He attempted it a couple of times, yeah, and then it didn't work out. He ended up in the hospital, and he's like, "Oh no, I slashed my hand. I slashed it like an hand. But he did it in the wrong way, and he ended up in the hospital. And then, but the doctor was like, this is a little odd. They tried to question her, and she was like, she was pissed off that they would,
I think a lot of people do it just as like a gesture to try to get attention or something. I know a guy who, was doing that, and he was basically just trying to get attention. He didn't want to end his life. He was just trying to get attention,
No, he was trying to do it. And then he did it again, and he had a better plan.
and it worked the last time.
As well, he went up to the country house, and he got some, what do you call it? What's that laughing gas?
Nitrous oxide, nitrous.
Nitrous, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
nitrous.
nitrous. This is stuff, the stuff that dentists use, I think. Nitrous.
I'm not sure, but he put a bag over his head and filled it up and just inhaled this, and he committed suicide
Wow.
up in a country house all by himself. It's crazy.
Well, I guess nobody knows. I've known to say nobody goes around this carousel of life more than once, right? So you gotta make the best of the ride, and then it's back to that mortality stuff. I mean, I've known a few people in my life, over a 50-year period basically, that have ended their lives, and I never really understood it. I like.
50 people you said?
What's that?
No, 50 people you said?
Yeah, yeah.
50.
No. 50 years of my life, I've known people, a few people that have, and it's like,
Whoa.
it's just confusing. I can tell you that close to home, my mother. We were talking about my mother. She had a hard life, and she was widowed when she was 28 years old, and then so she basically just crawled into the bottle and smoked. And I'm kind of convinced that she just didn't want to be here anymore. But she stuck around, right? And then eventually cancer got her when she was 55, right? Basically, younger than I am now, right?
Yeah.
And And it's like it's almost like I think people go through life and they have toughness and struggle, and life can be really hard.
Oh shit, yeah.
Life's not easy for me, right? At the same time, I think the key is that we have to be resilient enough to be able to bounce back from it and find some joy in it. But it's hard to do that because, like my mother, I mean, you know, she had sexual abuse when she was a kid, right? And it was a tough life, and her family was emotionally distant, right? And then she married a guy, and it was a great thing, and then he died, and then she crawled into the bottle. I mean, I probably would have done that too if I had the kind of life that she had, you know. And then she ended up being a very faithful, wonderful person, and then she passed, and you know, she's in a better place now, you know. So, but it's just interesting how we all process the lives that we live them the best we can, even when times are tough, and push through and persevere. I guess that's all we can do, right?
Mm. Well, the beauty and the promise that this knowledge really brings to us, it's not just the knowledge, but it's this empirical system brings to us is, the ability to really um, know that there's only, I mean, I've been going into such deep lessons, with in my study here in the past days, and it's just really incredible, and to understand like how important it is, for to let people know that the life is the life of the body. It's not the life of the mind. The mind is only here as a witness to the unfolding that's coming through this body for us. And when we follow the strategy that this body has been designed with in order to move through the planet, to move through this time and space, um, we meet with everything that's correct for us. We meet with the right challenges. We meet with the right successes. We meet with the right people in the right places, the right time. Everything will be aligned. It's what's on our trajectory. It won't be a place where it would be like, terrible suffering that we see on the planet. The planet, we experience so much of it. Suffering is because people just don't know. It haven't been shown to them. And so it's just continuous, you know, operating from the mind, thinking, I need to go get this, I need to be this, I need to be that because I have to survive. And it's all this crazy actions that's based, that's not based on anything that's really concrete or aware. There's a lot of awareness.
And I think we do the best
Unawareness.
we can as meat
Yeah,
packages. You know, I'm a physical meat package. You know, I got eyes, I got teeth, I got a nose and everything. I got a
we do.
body. You know, and what's that?
Yes, we do the best we can
Yeah,
with with what we got.
yeah,
But when we look at it and we see the condition of what it is, yeah, this is the best we can.
yeah, yeah.
It's a long process, but look at what we're building up to.
Yeah. And it gets older, and eventually it falls apart, and you know, it goes back to dust, right? Ash to ashes, dust to dust, and all that stuff. And what I get to realize is in the midst of it, especially during tough times, that it's just as you said, I am not what you see, right? I think that if you kind of close your eyes right now, you might get a better essence of who I am through my words, the frequency and the vibrations that's coming out of my mouth. But that's kind of not me either, right? The essence of me is that force, that life force, right? That is a strong force that feels that I'm here for a reason and a purpose, right? And I think that we all get to be that essence, you know, and show up in the best way we can, you know, whether it be in business or, you know, as a parent or as a, you know, whatever, spouse or business person or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And just because I think that's a good resilient foundation. That's a strong foundation to fall back on when times get tough. To have that essence, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's do more of that.